Sorry, was having some technical difficulties there. Anyway, hey guys, welcome to the show. I was actually watching the basketball show, and Paul was talking about a clip of Rich Paul and Max Kellerman's podcast. And in the clip, Max Kellerman was saying that Jordan could average a 40-point triple double in today's game. Of course, Rich Paul had to interrupt him and make some outlandish claim that he and MJ are friends, which right off the bat, I'm going to call bullshit on. Uh, Not only is Jordan a boomer and a man of character, class, and integrity, so in no way would he belittle himself by associating with the likes of Rich Paul, especially after some dumbass disrespectful things that have come out of Rich Paul's mouth in regards to Jordan in comparison with LeBron. He then went on to say, before letting Max continue, that people like to make claims that even Jordan wouldn't believe. Now, I actually have to agree with Rich Paul here. I don't think Jordan would believe that he could score a 40-point triple double. I think he would believe he could score more. I would wager closer to 45, 50. Why do I think that? Because the players of today don't know how to play defense, or certainly not at an elite level. And then with the removal of hand checking and the 3-second rule, who's to stop him? There aren't going to be any big men to stop him, and even big men in the 80s and 90s couldn't stop him. So I'm not exactly sure what they're talking about. If there is anyone in here, which I'm not entirely sure that there is, uh, I'm still trying to figure all of this out. I just wanted to commit to making a video and seeing where it goes. So I actually can't see. Oh, there we go. Live. I don't think there's anyone in here. But anyway, as I was saying, the players of today aren't elite defenders. How are they going to stop him? They're certainly not used to playing with anyone with as big of a bag and of wide range of scoring than Jordan. They haven't played against anyone even remotely close to that. So not only are they not going to have the defensive experience, they're not going to have the experience, period, to know how to stop someone like him because there's been no one like him, even since Kobe. So, how are they going to know what to do? I was hoping to have some level of interaction going on to kind of keep the conversation going. But each time that I have tried this, uh, no one gets into the chat. I don't know if it's because it's not showing up. I don't know if it's because people are busy or if there's a lack of interest. I mean, the reality is it doesn't matter. When I very first started this channel, I was used to making videos for no one. So I suppose when I start doing live streams, making videos for no one makes sense. This is where I struggle because of my brain injuries. It's difficult for me to keep a conversation going on my own without some form of contribution or interaction. And even then, it's like my brain is on a 5-second delay. So sometimes there's gaps in conversation. Um, it's always been a fear that I have had when it comes to doing live streams is that it will expose my shortcomings. You know, when it comes to recording a video, I only do it once. I don't do multiple takes. The only time I've ever done multiple takes is because I either fucked up the audio so it didn't record. I had video footage in the background that I forgot to remove the sound from. Chase 1738, how you doing, man? I was hoping to catch somebody in here, so I appreciate you showing up. If you are game, I would appreciate some live interaction feedback to my content. And I'm certainly not looking to be glazed. Don't feel like you have to kiss my ass because that's certainly not what I'm looking for. Uh, but yeah, if you have any constructive criticism, feedback, insights, anything, I would absolutely love to hear it. You've been an active participant in my videos for some time, so I would be interested to see what you think. See, again, this is where I run into the problem of just I don't want to have a stream that has a bunch of dead air in it, and I'm just really not good at filling that up by myself. I have the utmost respect for Sports and Fitness Rants, 93Z, AOH, because they can go on a stream by themselves and fill it. I think Sports and Fitness Rants last live stream that he did was almost 3 hours long, and there wasn't a lot of dead air in there. I'm not exactly sure I have that skill, but it's certainly going to be something that I try to work on. I would love to have a duo because if it was me and somebody else, you know, our conversation can carry the live stream while me trying to rely on my own ability to entertain people. I would be much better at it in person, but on a microphone, maybe not so much. All right, yeah, that's just too much dead air. I need to find something to talk about. All right, well, let's just pull something out of my ass. I started watching The Last Dance again. I believe this is probably the 10th time that I've seen it. And every time I watch it, I come away with something new from it. And I don't know if it's because I just made that video about Scottie Pippen and my thoughts on him. But as I was watching episode 2, which really focuses on Scottie Pippen, Taj, I don't think that Rich Paul is a fan of Michael Jordan at all. I think that's something that he says. I don't think it's something that he believes in any capacity. I think he is 100% a LeBron stooge. But he knows that real basketball fans consider Jordan the GOAT, and to saying that you're against Jordan kind of puts a target on your back, and that's something that he is trying to avoid. So, no, I absolutely do not think that he is a Jordan fan, especially because he has disrespected Jordan on multiple occasions. He has compared LeBron to Jordan in a number of different ways that aren't flattering to Jordan. So I don't think he's a fan of him at all. I think given the opportunity, and if he thought he could do so without repercussion, uh, he'd be talking crazy shit about Jordan. And then the fact that on the podcast with Max Kellerman, he said that they're friends. I'm sorry, I just find that incredibly difficult to believe. I just can't imagine that Jordan would associate himself with someone like Rich Paul. I think he would have some choice words for Rich Paul, especially if it was off camera. Oh, absolutely. I completely agree. He is a pseudo intellectual. He likes to pretend that he's educated, that he's smart, and that he is well informed. But kind of as you mentioned, he sounds completely uneducated when it comes to basketball. I don't think he understands even the current game, let alone the game from the 80s and 90s, which is why I think he so openly disparages it, because he doesn't know what he's talking about. Just out of curiosity, can you guys hear me well? Is my sound okay? It's not breaking up, it's not too quiet or anything? Now, if I'm being completely fair, I am not educated about the modern game at all. Partially because I took a 22-year break from the NBA where I did not watch a single game. And when I came back, it was 2020. So it was the bubble chip. Uh, Not a great reintroduction to the NBA. In fact, I probably picked the worst time to come back and try to get back into the game. And ever since then, I haven't really had a lot of interest in it. My reintroduction, I think the very first game that I watched was the Lakers versus the Clippers. LeBron flopped 3 times, and immediately I knew this is a product I'm no longer interested in. I felt completely validated in my decision to stop watching basketball. And the only reason why I've continued is because I found channels like Uncommon Sense, Angry Old Hoops, Sports and Fitness Rant, Self Researched NBA Facts. And it's entirely because of them that I have stayed remotely invested in basketball in any way, shape, or form. Because the game itself doesn't have enough to interest me or to keep my interest. Well, no, that's exactly it. It's incredibly painful to watch. First of all, not only does it feel like a 3-point contest, it feels like a really bad 3-point contest. I think it was the Timberwolves that I watched, and they chucked up 45 3-pointers and missed 30. Now I realize that's still making 33%, but that's boring as shit to watch. The refs are absolutely ridiculous. I don't even know. I feel like they're not even watching the game. That's what it feels like to me anyway, because egregious fouls, travels, carries are happening right in front of their face and they completely ignore it. I was watching one of Sports and Fitness Rant's videos today, and he was talking about LeBron has 14 flagrant fouls or 14 technical fouls, not even flagrant fouls, 14 technical fouls in his career. It may have been 17 because I think he was talking about Luka has 14. So Luka in one season has almost as many technical fouls as LeBron does in his career. How's that possible? Especially if you watch him play for 2 minutes. The way he yells at refs, technical foul. Grabbing a ref should be an ejection. At bare minimum, should be a technical foul. His offensive fouls, his bullying, the fact that he's elbowed people in the head and didn't get a flagrant foul, it's incredibly poor officiating. And then it's not even consistent. It's glaringly one-sided. They pick a team that they want to win, and that's who gets all of the calls. I mean, I think since I have been watching, and I think a little bit beforehand, but since 2020, the Lakers have had an absolutely ludicrous free throw disparage between them and even the second closest team. How's that okay? And it's something that the media so rarely talks about when they're talking about, the Lakers are great, which I don't understand how they could possibly say that, especially since LeBron has been back. But they barely beat bad teams with an incredibly huge free throw disparity. Poor attitudes, certainly. I've never seen so many whiny crybabies or just pouting. Like, I certainly don't know what happened to sportsmanship, but that seems to be gone. Anybody at any point will just be complaining either to the refs or teammates whenever the game isn't going well. Even when the game is going well, that's another thing that really surprises me. There was a camaraderie and an excitement and an energy on the court in both the 80s and 90s. And from what I've seen of the early 2000s up to around 2010-ish, where players were excited, they were engaged, they were interested. What's up, Angry Old Hoops? I've been trying to get on this whole live streaming thing. But yeah, I'm still not very good at it. I'm trying to figure it out, but being terrible is good for you, I guess. You can only get better. That's, Charles, you bring up an interesting point, and it's something that I have thought about a lot. I just want one team to go bad boy Pistons on LeBron and the Lakers. I don't understand how his teammates haven't turned against him. I certainly don't understand how players on other teams haven't turned against him and decided, we're going to shut you down. Like, you want to play bully ball? Okay, fine. We're going to play bully ball and we're going to knock your ass down. How has that not happened? I couldn't not do it. Yeah, I'm a big Moses Malone fan. I wish I could have seen more of him play live and in person, but I saw very little of it because when I started watching the NBA, it was at the very tail end of his career. That's an interesting question, and I kind of think they go hand in hand. I've always said that I think sports is a reflection on our society. Whatever sports is doing, our society is doing. Whatever our society is doing, sports is doing. And I think one fed into the other. Which came first? That's difficult to say. But let's just say it came first in society. LeBron took that and ran with it. Well, no, that was the great thing about it is having a killer instinct and a competitor mindset was ubiquitous back then. It was every player on every team, as far down to the role players, to the sixth man. Everybody wanted to compete, everybody wanted to win. They didn't make excuses. They were all out there to give it everything. And especially back then, because there were rivalries, so many games were heated. There was just a energy, there was a fire that those games had that made you want to watch. And it wasn't just Bird, it wasn't just Magic, it wasn't just Jordan. There were competitors on every single team. The other thing that I really remember about back then, I could name multiple players on every single team. And now, given I don't watch the modern game at all or very little, I can hardly name any players. And the reality is, I don't really want to because I don't care. I'm not invested. So I'm not willing to put forth the effort. Because sports is an investment. And previously, I was more than happy to make that investment. I would do research on my own. I would watch all of the games. I paid attention to all of the players. I mean, I've been a Bulls fan since 1984, so I obviously knew the Bulls teams, but I was paying attention to the Magic and the Hawks and the Lakers and the Celtics. I paid attention to all the teams because even though I wasn't necessarily fans of, I mean, I even paid attention to the Pistons, who I hated, but I still respected their team. It was a lot easier to know all of the players back then for sure. Yeah, I couldn't name 18 players in the modern NBA. Maybe if I really, really tried. And most of those players I would probably only be able to name because I hear other people talk about them so much. I probably couldn't pick them out of a lineup. I likely wouldn't be able to tell you what team that they play for. I guess it's probably stupid that I have a channel that primarily talks about the NBA and I know almost nothing about the modern era. But I guess given that I don't talk about it very much and I openly admit to not knowing anything about it, I'm not trying to pretend. So I don't think there are many people here. Uh, However, I did want to say for my 200th subscriber episode, I wanted to do a Q&A. So if you guys happen to leave your questions here or on any of my videos, or I made a post on my channel, please put your questions there. There's absolutely nothing that's off limits. If you want to know about me, my life, why I love the game, favorite players, teams, whatever, absolutely feel free to post it in any of those places. And once I have, I would say 10, 20 questions, I'll go ahead and make that video. If anyone can recommend any good basketball documentaries, I've certainly seen a number of them, especially the ESPN ones. But I just recently saw, I can't remember if it's on YouTube or on Netflix, but there's a Bill Russell documentary that I really need to watch because I don't really know a lot about him. Pretty much anything before 1984, I'm not particularly educated on. And then it is surprising that not watching basketball from 98 to 2020 and really not using that information at all, my brain just kind of purged it. So a lot of the things that I did know right off the top of my head, I don't have access to anymore. Also, not going to lie, 3 traumatic brain injuries certainly didn't help with that. But I'm always looking to learn, especially about the older NBA when they actually still played basketball. I would love to continue to increase my knowledge and my understanding of the game. So if anyone has any suggestions for documentaries or videos on that, I'm certainly all ears to hear it. I apologize for the dead air. That's certainly where I fall short. Yeah, I pretty much watch all of AOH's channel. I think I've been a subscriber of his for a few years now. So, I mean, maybe if I went back to the very beginning, which I should probably do, uh, it's interesting to see how people have improved and grown since their channel began. I'm just seeing within my own channel, given that I've been doing this for about 8 months, that there's already a dramatic improvement, not only in my content, but in its presentation. I actually even have a few videos with video in them rather than just me talking over my logo. So, Taj, I know you said that you're not a fan of the modern game, but if we're talking about old NBA, who was your team? Who are your favorite players? As you guys probably know from my channel, my team is the Bulls, and Rodman is my favorite player. Bird is my second favorite player. Jordan is probably my third. It was difficult to pick a favorite player back then because there were so many quality players on so many teams. Magic definitely was the guy. It was pretty great that he ended up on the Lakers given his personality, his play style, the fact that he was so like flamboyant and energized in his personality and in his play. Yeah, it's funny, uh, I've lived in Seattle my entire life. And so I grew up with the Sonics being here, and I even went to a number of Sonics games. It's how I was able to see Jordan play in person a few different times. Um, but I was never really a Sonics fan. I don't know if it's because I was rebelling against my dad. He was a Seahawks fan. I can't stand them. He was a Mariners fan. I can't stand them. I never couldn't stand the Mariner or the Sonics. Uh, there were a number of players on their teams that I really respected. I enjoyed watching their games. They were just never my team. I don't know why I just never subscribed to the I have to like the local team. I just always wanted to like who I wanted to like. And that's how it happened. The reality is, as silly as it is, the Bulls became my team because their uniforms are red, and red is my favorite color. That's literally how I chose them. And then it was fortuitous that Jordan ended up on that team and they ended up becoming a dynasty, but that's certainly not how it was planned. I became a fan when I was 8 years old. And it's hard for me to say that I've been a fan for 42 years because I took a 22-year break. I was a huge Spud Webb fan. I had his poster on my wall. Isaiah Thomas, that one is difficult for me because I do think he is an exceptional point guard, but I cannot fucking stand that guy. It started from a very young age. It obviously had to do with the rivalry with the Bulls. Uh, I struggle with him. I actually had an opportunity to meet him and I had to refuse because I wasn't sure I would be able to control myself and I may end up spitting on him. That's the level of disdain that I have for him. I respect him as a player, uh, but my problem was, uh, I just didn't like him. We'll just leave it at that. That's funny not being allowed to root for a team. I absolutely experienced that in my life. Because my dad was a Seahawks fan, I was not allowed to be a Broncos fan. I was not allowed to be a 49ers fan. It is a shame about Thomas because I think I would even rank him as the second best point guard behind Magic, but I can only respect his game. I just can't respect him as an individual. He just seems like a snake to me. He's the type of person that on camera and in person, he seems very smiley and he absolutely has charisma and charm, but I absolutely think he would stab you in the back first opportunity that he gets. And then when he was caught, he would try to talk himself out of it. And I have a really difficult time respecting people that are like that. I have really been trying to find a way to lean my content away from talking about LeBron so much. The problem is that between him, fanboys, and the media, there's just always something stupid to cover. It doesn't ever end. I mean, he's kind of the content creator gift that keeps on giving because he loves the sound of his own voice. The media just loves to glaze for him, even when there's absolutely no merit for it. And then his fanboys, I mean, they're just a treasure trove of asinine comments. They just make it easy. But I was a little bit disgusted when I was looking for a specific video on my channel and I typed in LeBron to search on my channel, and I think 14 videos came up. No, I would really hope that his fans will shut up, but the problem is I don't even think he's going to shut up after he retires. Because the problem is some platform will give him a pedestal, whether it's another podcast, whether he ends up becoming a commentator. He's going to refuse to get out of the spotlight. Even if he's not in the league, his narcissistic nature will not allow him to not be in a position where he can be praised, where people can be sucking up to him and kissing his ass because, I mean, that's his life force. I think he would cease to exist if he didn't have people just constantly glazing for him and telling him how great he is. I wish that when he retired, he would just disappear. There's just absolutely no way that's going to happen, especially if Rich Paul and Clutch Sports are still involved in the league. That will just always give him an entrance into including himself in conversations. Even if it doesn't pertain directly to him, he will find a way to shoehorn himself into any conversation. And in reality, I don't think he's done. Between Jeannie Buss saying that he could continue with the Lakers, or the whole scenario that's going on in Cleveland with them trying to build another super team, I just don't think he's going anywhere anytime soon. It'd be great if he did, but I just can't see that happening. He's either going to stay with the Lakers, which would be probably the biggest mistake that they could make as far as their franchise, as far as their ability to win, or he's going to go to Cleveland, which in all honesty, I think is even a bigger mistake because I think they're a better team than the Lakers are. I mean, I don't necessarily know a lot about them, but Donovan Mitchell seems like a fairly capable player. I mean, the pickup of James Harden, I've never understood that. I genuinely think he's on his sixth team now. And somehow all of these teams think it's a good idea. I don't know anyone that does less. especially in the playoffs. He is guaranteed to shit the bed in the playoffs. He's just done it throughout his entire career. So I can't imagine that will change. All right. How long has this been going on? 41 minutes. Yeah, I will probably wrap this up soon. Not that I am not enjoying the interaction, um, but I really need to approach my next live stream with more content or at least more talking points. Uh, because without you, Taj, this probably would have been an incredibly boring, silence filled live stream. So I appreciate your participation. I definitely need to step up my game in this regard. But please, if you have any questions that you would like me to ask, either drop them in the comments here or on the post on my channel or on any video, and I will certainly make sure to address it in the episode that I do. And thanks for joining in, but I will catch you guys in the next one.